Mention the 1936 Olympics held in Germany and you instantly link it with some of the most iconic images in sporting history.
He's a yard or two out in front. Metcalf is coming second up on him. It's Owens, Metcalf and Osendahl.
In fact, so infamous have those games become that the Winter Olympics, held 6 months earlier here in Garmisch, have all but been forgotten.
Opening the Olympic Games in a blizzard, athletes of 28 nations march past and Hitler takes a salute. It will be noticed that the British team salutes in Nazi fashion as a compliment to their hosts.
Die 4. Olympischen Winterspiele 1936 in Garmisch Partenkirchen für eröffnet.
The Winter Games aren't really remembered much at all. Of all the literature that's out there, it's almost all in the Summer Games. Here it's very sort of problematic, and a lot of the past here is problematic because this has become part of their infrastructure. It's what made this city a winter resort.
The idea, certainly from Hitler's perspective in 1936, for the Summer Games was to promote Nazism and the Aryan race. Do you think it was the same for the Winter Olympics?
It was very much the same. I mean, they tied them together. The Winter Olympics were more or less a dry run for it.
If you ignored all of the negative connotations, the actual infrastructure must have been way ahead of its time.
It was state-of-the-art. They had the best of everything in here. The ski jump was the longest jump. People were going over 80 meters on the ski jump.
Which at the time was unthinkable.
Oh, it was incredible. People were scared to death of it. They built hotels. They did everything they could think of to make this the best games ever. And by most estimates, it was. Even the people who were here and saw, the stormtroopers and the SS guards and things said, we're here for sport, and it's great for sport. It's just fabulous.
It was the last time that one nation hosted both the Winter and Summer Games in the same year, and it was also the debut year for alpine skiing as an Olympic discipline. It took the shape of the combined downhill and slalom. The Germans took out the gold in both the men's and women's.
In the slalom skiing event, Germany was victorious. The slalom was a downhill ski run that includes difficult turns between flags, and the women's race was run by Christel Krantz.
Very few of the original stadia from 1936 remain, but this is a remarkably well-preserved bobsleigh track. As you can see, it's just cut from the dirt, and there's a pumping station a little bit further down where blocks of ice were cut by hand from the water and then used to build up the banks. It would have been incredibly impressive, but equally terrifying.
And this is what a crash at over 60 miles an hour is like. Here's Britain, who finished third.
The ski jumping stadium is where Hitler opened the 1936 Games from, but it's also where the World Championships hosted their opening ceremony last week. And while the stadium has changed, memories of the past still abound. Garmisch doesn't have the same kind of ski racing heritage as resorts like Kitzbühel, but it does have a sporting history that can rival any town.